Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today, we are going to put together a roadmap for you to shift permanently into your dream reality. There are many reality shifters out there that are able to lucidly experience their own preferred fantasy realities, but they come back to this reality when it's all done. There are many of you that want to shift into a reality that you would love to experience. Maybe it's to experience a certain kind of love, to experience a certain kind of life. Each of these are possible to you. The universe is yours, and you simply have to choose what sort of reality that you want to play in. So what I'm going to do is give you a roadmap from my own experiences in shifting realities. Check out the episode Secrets of Reality Shifting, where I go over my own story. You can also read my book, The Reality Revolution, The Mind-Blowing Movement to Hack Your Reality, and I go into detail of how I have experienced parallel realities, how I have shifted through them, and I go over different techniques that you can use. But I get this question a lot. I can see and taste this reality. I can see it in my mind. I just can't move in there permanently, and I would like to. What can I do? All realities are available to you in the multiverse. Many of us in this new age are starting to experience these realities in different and powerful ways. Many people are beginning to become lucid in their dreams on a regular basis, awaking in their dream and learning how to control these dream realities. And some have learned how to program themselves by using different techniques of modulating their brainwaves and then entering into a certain state and shifting into a reality. Some people can dilate time in a certain way so they can experience 1 hour in our reality being 10 years. It can be amazing, and you can go into experiences where you literally feel as if you've experienced years and years of life. I have awoken from certain realities that I've played around in, and it was hard at first for me to even remember my old reality. But I was able to adjust eventually. But as I experimented with these things, I noticed that there was a bleed through into the fantasy realities I would shift into. In many cases, I would imagine places that were fearful to me, that were scary to me. My imagination would run wild, with no discipline at all. Thinking in my mind, it didn't matter. I was just exploring these vistas of my imagination. When I realized that your imagination creates reality, I was somewhat concerned at some of the crazy dreams that I had experimented with because they were quite frightening. And I started to see a bleed through of certain aspects of these realities. As I experienced this more and more and became more adept at it, I realized that I had to learn how to properly do it in the right way, or I could end up in a reality that I very much did not want to be in. A reality of perhaps war or slavery or domination or a variety of different things that I did not want to live in anymore. So I've experimented with a variety of different techniques to shift your reality into. We've used quantum jumping through breath technique, jumping directly into the reality. We have used the Burt Goldman technique, where you shift into a place where you can meet your quantum twin from another reality and sort of take in the information and energy. And you can also, in a certain state, within a dream state, enter into a dream reality that is much more than just a lucid dream. It is real. You can taste it. It is vivid, and it is powerful. So the real question that you have to start with in this process of taking that dream reality and making it permanent is, what kind of reality do you want to experience? For many, just understanding what it is that you want to experience is the first and hardest part. It's not an easy question to answer. And you need to be honest with yourself So I recommend going through a period of preparation, preparing to shift into a reality. Assume that it will work. You have to integrate this belief into your reality, and you can do that by listening to my podcast or others that emphasize that imagination creates reality. If it seems repetitive, that's a good thing. What you're doing is programming your belief system to believe that you can shift into a reality. Many are not able to shift into other realities simply because they have a deep-seated belief that it is impossible. For many, this belief is hard to reprogram, but it can be done through a variety of different techniques that are different for everybody that is using them. You're changing deep-seated beliefs within you, which can come all the way to childhood or religious programming or even media-level programming. So I recommend sleep meditations and advanced hypnosis techniques that change your deep belief systems through affirmations done on a repetitive basis. Some people can shift in their belief systems very quickly, and others, they take months for their shift to occur just on the belief level. In order for you to permanently shift into a reality that you want to go into, you have to believe that it's possible. If you can't get past this one roadblock, you'll never be able to do it. So once you've established and believe in your heart of hearts that you can shift into a reality, you've listened to success stories, you've read books where people have been able to do it, and you integrate this belief system into your mind, you will then work with greater intensity and emphasis on what it is you want to shift into. Start to go through and ask yourself some questions. What is it I want to experience? What is it I want to feel? What is it I want to learn? What is it I want to have? What is it that I want to do? You can check out my questions meditation. This gives you some ideas. What you're doing now is just starting to take those binoculars and look out into the multiverse and see what reality really shines for you. You're not shifting into a reality yet. You're monitoring the possibilities and the potentials that are available to you in the multiverse itself. All around us and within us, in the space between the atoms, is an information space, or this information sector, if you want to call it, or the space of variations. Within this is all the realities. Some of them are real, some of them may just be information. But within this information space is the information of all possibilities of what things could happen for you. And as you tune into a zero state, clearing out your mind, silencing your thoughts, moving into a deep trance state, that is when you start to let go of your outside world just a little bit. Many people are unable to shift into their dream reality because they hold on to many aspects of themselves. It may be your beliefs about what love is possible or what kind of abundance may be possible for you. It may be about what sort of joy that you are allowed to have. Many of these things are a part of this equation. You may need to really analyze yourself and go into this process. So you start to ask yourself questions. You sit in this space that is a void as best you can, and you look out into the multiverse at the infinite possibilities that are available to you. You can do this in the silence, in a silent state of meditation. You can do this in a variety of places. The place where I initially became very aware of this is Dr. Joe Dispenza's void meditation. By going into the void and letting go of who you are, what you are, all those things that you attach your identity to, by going through this and clearing them out, you enter into vast areas of potential possibilities. Right now, you're limited by all the things that you define yourself as. I'm an American. I live in California. I am a certain political affiliation. I am from this ethnicity. I speak this language. I am this gender. All of these things define me and my reality. I can't get around it. I'm locked in this body and I've lived this life. And there are infinite possibilities available to you, but you're on a certain stream because of all of these things that are locked into you. There's a part of you that believes that you can be successful, that you can be a singer or a writer, and there's a part of you that doesn't. By letting go of all those beliefs, you enter more and more into this void, this zero state. For some people, they can do this in a single meditation. Others, it may take them years by going through their past beliefs. There are many ways that you can do it. Some people simply can't go into that void and completely let go of their identities and everything they have. They're scared to do that. They don't want to do that. You can go back and revise and change your memory of certain things if they are working against you. But the process of letting go of these things makes you aware of how these things affect your reality. As you will notice in the quantum jump meditations that I have on the channel, you quantum jump into a reality after you enter in through the void, and then you create a certain level of energy and you jump into these realities. But the most important part is the beginning. You don't want to jump into a reality you haven't thought through. If it's some little thing that you want, well, what does that mean for the rest of the reality? You might jump into a reality where you have the thing that you want, but the reality is terrible. So you really want to define that reality in every way possible. Don't base your reality on just the experience or the thing that you want. Define the whole reality. What are the rules of this reality? How are people? How do they act? What is it like? What sort of beauty is it? Remember, you are the creator. By going into this beginning phase with a creative mindset, like you're painting a picture, but you are now a reality composer. You define all the aspects of this reality in relation to you and others. Everybody's wealthy, everybody's happy. You define all of those things and elements within the reality that work for you. And then while you're in the void, you sort of peer through your mind's eye and you look out and you find these certain reality streams that are there in the information space that you enter into. And you enter into that reality. So I would take a good period of time looking at the potentials that are available to you. I know that it's easy to get into a rush. I need to have this thing now. I want to enter into this reality right now. But if you truly believe that you can shift into any reality, maybe you need to clarify which reality you want to go into. So I recommend going through a period of time. Take your time to solidify this reality. Now, one of the things that happens as you ask this question, you start to create the structure of this reality within the information space. So your process of learning what it is you desire is also creative. As you start to write these things down and imagine them and refine these possibilities, these fantasy worlds that you want to go into, then there's a portion of your mind reaching out, seeing and testing the possible potentials that are available to you. So go through these questions. Where am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What is the world like? How do I feel? What do I see? What are the possibilities for me within this reality? What are the differences in this reality to my current reality? Go through these questions. When you ask these questions, listen. Your mind has answers. It's a process of communicating with your higher self. When you ask these questions in a meditative space, in the right place where you've entered into that void, that is the place where you can create. So you go through this process. When you really have it written out, you've defined all the parameters, you've written it out on a piece of paper, I recommend collapsing this idea and really starting to imagine it in a waking space. And as you go to sleep, knowing that you're still creating, you haven't done the jump yet, you haven't created the energy yet. The process of imagining will still attract it, but it's also a process of playing around in the sandbox of this new reality. Explore it within your sleep state, in a lucid waking state, even better. Going into a dream state and awakening in a dream state and then changing the reality to the one that you want to imagine is a great place to explore this and the potentials that are available to you. Check out my episode on lucid dreaming. If you make it your intention that you awaken and remember your dreams, eventually you will. Prior to going to sleep, you affirm that you will remember these dreams, that you will awaken and be aware. As you do this, for some it takes a while, but some people, they get better and better at it. Then you'll be able to experience the lucid waking state. Start asking yourself on a regular basis, am I dreaming? Ask it all the time. Ask it every 30 minutes. Ask it when you're triggered to, when somebody says a certain word that you hear all the time. Am I dreaming? Just take a moment, ask yourself, am I dreaming? There will be a point in time where you get so used to asking this question, am I dreaming? You're going to ask it in the dream state because it is your normal behavior. And then you'll be like, yes, I am. It's pretty amazing when you ask the question and you realize that you are dreaming, and it's very vivid. As you experiment with the lucid dreaming state, you start to explore your ability to control these worlds, and it will bleed through into your regular reality. The lucid dreaming state in the delta is not as creative as you are in the theta or semi-conscious state. If a portion of your brain is in a conscious state, you are more creative than in just straight dream state. But the dream state can still be creative. As I've mentioned before, when you're in the dream state, you may be having a dream that's being sent as a message to you from the creator, where symbols are there, and in those cases you can't really lucidly dream and you just watch what's happening. But also, you may be exploring actual realities. I believe that the soul, while it sleeps, is just jumping in and out of these different realities within the information space. Some of them are random and weird and don't make any sense, and it's just your spirit flying free through the multiverse. Once you start to awaken within your dream, you can choose to enter into any dream reality that you want. So you start to do this in your lucid dreaming. I also recommend reality shifting techniques that reality shifters are using on TikTok and on Reddit that are pretty interesting and pretty powerful. In particular, the Raven method really works. You lay back on your bed flat in the starfish position with your legs out and your arms out, and you start to count down from 100. If you can get an artificial countdown, and maybe I'll create one for an episode later so that you can just have that in the background. And while you hear the countdown, you affirm this reality. Maybe you keep your journal next to you so you can keep a touch of it, holding it in one of your hands, so that you have that feeling that reminds you of this reality, and then you just affirm that you're entering this reality. So if you wanted to enter into a Star Wars reality, I am in the Star Wars reality. Say it over and over. It may be more specific to a specific reality that you want to go into, but you simply imagine this reality and then explore it. If you give yourself the command that every 30 minutes in this reality is the equivalent of 1 day, then over 2 hours, you can totally experience 4 days. You can really dilate the time down so that you experience months or even years at a time. Experiment with this command while you're going into that state of deep trance. Relax your body and just play with it. Let your imagination run free. Experiment with it and write it down. If you have a really profound reality shift where you are in some kind of fantasy world, write it down. Don't forget it. It's very possible that you were experiencing that reality remotely or in some unusual fashion, and that it was actually you, that you were in it. So start to experiment with this process. The key to make it a permanent reality is energy. The more energy that you have moving through your body and the levels of energy that you have moving through your body. You have different levels of energy moving through your body, through the different pillars in your body on different levels, and at the same time, different energy vortexes and chakras. Each of these are filters to the divine energy that's coming in and creating this world around us. So energy becomes very important in taking this reality that you're imagining and making it manifest in material in front of you, so that it's not just a figment of your imagination, but it's a real thing. When you shift into a reality, it will require a certain energy expenditure. I use fire breathing, which creates an explosion type effect. I like to have a lot of energy beforehand, so I will do energy exercises, maybe hang upside down, do some sort of yoga routine or something like tapping that amplifies the energy in my body. And the moment of quantum jumping that I have in my videos is always an acceleration of energy, pulling the energy up into my mind's eye and using that as a filter, jumping into this other reality. So you may have struggles with your energies, and your energies are related to specific things in your life, as the chakras are. If you're struggling with security, then your red ray chakra may be closed. If you don't feel safe or rooted, then that energy which comes up from the earth, that is a part of this refined energy, is being blocked. And many of the other energy centers simply are not as functional if that one is blocked. Each of the energy centers feed on each other. There are some models of energy work that claim that they're independent, but truly they do feed on each other. So once you feel that, then there's that sort of fire and passion in your gut, that place where you have butterflies in your gut, that place, that energy of sexual passion that's right there. It's a fire that burns. And once you feel safe, that's the energy that starts to really activate in your sacral chakra. This could be related to sexual dysfunctions, or something could be blocking this. As it awakens, you move to your very willpower, the power of you, the light that shines out from you, and that's the solar plexus. And if you have questions about your power, you don't feel like you're able to put your power out there in the world, you feel weak or blocked, that's what's happening here. It's power being blocked. So you go through these elements. When you reach the heart, there is an amplification of energy, a titanic wave of energy that begins to become available to you. The energy of unconditional love, which creates the universe. Those bottom energies on the lower level are powerful. They influence your emotions. They do have creative effects of things around you, but they are nothing like your heart. Many people simply cannot create or shift into realities without this heart energy, which is the match that lights you into the new reality. So it's important that you have heart-mind coordination. The energies that you're accessing have to be above the heart level in order for you to go into your dream reality. Your heart has the energy in it so that it can create the reality or move or shift you into the reality that you want to go into, however you've dreamed. If you're lucidly dreaming it, you're doing reality shifts where you're dreaming it on a regular basis, you've defined it in your journal, and you really make this your emphasis, you know where you're going, then you create big energy bursts or shifts in your meditational state, jumping into these realities. And then sit in these realities. Once you've jumped into it, sit in them and imagine them. Imagine that it's happening now, flowing through you and from your heart. Once you start to enable the energies of your throat or your throat chakra, then your creative power is amplified and your words can be used as a part of this process. When you become the word, when you empower the words that you use, you've entered into this divine region of your heart. When you move into the throat and the energy is not being blocked in your throat, you literally have the voice of God, and you can define this reality with your verbal words that you use. Then you can start to see this new reality as the energies move up into your third eye. You can see it. You become aware of it. You start to sense the other realities, and as this third eye opens, you can see these realities. And then you connect to those outer densities through your crown chakra. So you begin with a process where you start to filter out the information that becomes available to you. You've chosen to jump into this reality. You jump into this reality. You try the lucid dreaming techniques that we've talked about. You start doing this on a regular basis. You create a momentum, and the energy that you start to add to this starts to create a vibrational timeline that is real, that is in a different sector of reality than the current reality that you're in. It may be similar in energy. In many cases, it's just a little bit different because you're entering into a frequency of energy that creates a cause and effect. And there's a whole lot of variables. Some people will shift into a reality and they're not aware of the reality shift, and slowly they start to become aware that they did shift. Sometimes I believe there are aspects of our higher selves that are so good at creating these realities, they always create and build in a little bit of mystery into them to give you a reasonable doubt that you did shift into your reality. But over time, you create a momentum that pushes you more and more into that defined reality. Deep below all of this is that you believe. You believe that you can do this, that you are doing it. So what you're doing is you define what you want over a period of time. You make sure that you define that you can believe it. You've changed your beliefs. Then you take some time to really clarify the reality that you want. Then you try going into the void and scanning these potentials that are available in the multiverse. As you do this, you become aware more and more. You start writing it out. You start building it out. You start getting the flavor and feeling of this reality. Then you do these quantum jump techniques. The first one is the quantum jump, entering into the reality. Assume that you're in this reality. There are a lot of things that will pull you back into the old reality. All those old beliefs, all those old things. So what you're doing is you jump into the reality and you start to really write it down. How long was I in that reality before I came out? You start to document what happens after you do the quantum jump. In many cases, you do the quantum jump, you're in the reality, and then something pulls you back. Maybe it's an argument or a thing that pulls you back. That's fine. Totally normal. Totally expected. So what you do is you try to write down those things. Become aware of the things that trigger you to pull you back into the reality. In those moments, ask if you're dreaming. Continue to do it to pull yourself back into the new reality that you want. So you continue to do these quantum jumps or meditations. That's all that you have to do. You continue to do this. You're going to come back. As you get better at quantum jumping, you want to create an anchor. So you can pinch yourself in your hand or in a place that's unusual on your body. Think of a word or image in your mind. And whenever you do that thing, it'll bring up that feeling, emotion you had during the quantum jump. That is a very effective method of quickly taking you back to the energy of the jump that you want to participate in. You can also make it so that every time you walk under a doorway, you remind yourself that you're in this new reality. Once you've done this a couple of times, then you want to try to use the plat. Check out my plat meditation. The idea is all these different beliefs that we have for this new reality are actually different streams that come into an energy point that's behind our backs. It is a single point behind our backs that sort of ties together like a ponytail or braid behind your back. It's hard to explain, but it's a feeling that you get between your shoulder blades. In reality transurfing and some additional materials, they discuss how this energy braid that's behind your back is a place that you can shift your reality. So you can start imagining the reality that you want and then see it going into that energy braid. Some people have a hard time with this, but if you do it a few times, you start to feel something in your back. That's the next level. You also want to try to do some of the quantum jumps related to Burt Goldman that I also have on the channel. So I have 3 different kinds, but then you do the Burt Goldmans where you imagine going into the reality where this thing is already happening that you want to experience. And you sort of have a meeting with this other version of yourself, and you download their knowledge, their information, their tendencies, their behaviors. The more and more you merge with your energetic twin, you start to get their ways of thinking. There's a version of you out there that is incredibly prosperous, that uses money perfectly. There's a version of you that is so effective in love, and there's a version of you that's incredibly healthy. You can access all these different energies, all these different entities. They're twins. And in the meditation space, you can go and merge with this twin and you come back into this reality. When you're doing all these things at the same time, it's very effective. Each of these things will start to make the reality permanent that you want to go into, the dream reality. For many people, they give up, they don't think it works, they start to question it, they let things pull them back into their old reality. The very best reality shifters are actors. You enter into a certain state where you become a character. They have different memories, they have different features, they have different things. The actor is doing the as-if technique. They are acting as if they are this person, and they let it take over their entire character. And as they do this, they start to shift their reality into the one where they are that character. You see actors doing it all the time. So the next step is you've started to do these meditations, and those will give you little bursts of energy. Then you start to stay in this energetic state, keeping the feeling, reminding yourself of this feeling. You then want to become an actor, and it's going to require you to play a role that's different than you. If you want to be a writer, and right now you sell vacuums, then you just say, I'm John and I'm a writer. You imagine that you're a writer. You begin to act like you're a writer in a movie. If people ask you, go ahead and say that you're a writer. It's more powerful. I do think it's effective to change your name if you want to. Shift your identity entirely. Your identity is of this new reality that you're entering into. You become an actor. You talk to people in the way that you would talk. You shift your body and your posture into the way that you would have your body and posture. You eat the foods that you would eat. Make this a regular thing, and eventually, after you've done this for a while, and it sounds like make-believe. We all did it when we were little kids. We played make-believe. It is make-believe at the beginning, but you have to be good enough at it, remembering that you can shift your reality. When you're doing this with the belief deep down that I can shift my reality, saying to yourself, I can shift my reality to any reality I want, and you have this deep-seated belief, then of course when you're acting, deep down you know exactly what's going on. You're painting a reality. You're creating this new reality. You're composing it in the way that you want. So that's what you're doing in this case. You're slowly shifting into this reality by becoming the actor. You don't have to make a fool of yourself and say something that's obviously not true to your friends, but you can still keep it in your mind. You can answer questions in the way that you would. And you become an actor, you go to sleep as this person. You look in the mirror and you declare, I am this person every night before you go to bed. Whenever you wake up, you look in your, and I am John the writer. You look in your mirror and you say that to yourself. You look yourself in the eye. I am John the writer. You talk like a writer. Now, I find it effective to then become a researcher. A very good actor will research their role. They will find out everything they need to know about what it is that they're playing. So if they want to play a doctor, they go hang out with doctors, they read about doctors, they read about the language. So you're continuing as you act, learning about this thing that you want to be. You're learning about it in every way, shape, and form. Let it become an obsession because you're shifting your reality. This is not a part-time thing. Let it become your obsession. The more energy you put into it, the more effective it is. Along the way, do not create your reality from something that you don't want. You don't create a reality that says, I am out of debt, because you're focusing on the debt and you're solving a problem. You want to look at the opposite. I am abundant and prosperous. I have so much money, debt's not even an issue. Don't focus on the thing that you're trying to fix. So don't look for a reality that you're fixing some problem that you have. Try to look at the opposite of it and create from that place. You continue to refine this reality. Along the way, you will learn many things about yourself and what you really desire. Maybe there's something that you started to create, and then as you do it more and more, you realize, man, that's not really what I want. Fortunately, at the end of third density and where we're at now, we have a little lag time between what we imagine and what we enter into. So the mind is seeing a future that is getting closer and closer, but you can shift it. You can change it. As you shift it, you just adjust what you're imagining, adjust the world that you're imagining, write down something different in the script of your new reality, and change how you play the role as the actor. Do these meditations, merging with your quantum twin, utilizing the plait or energy braid that connects to the back of your head between your shoulders. Quantum jump with energy bursts that pull you into this reality. The final role is connecting to the higher self, connecting to a portion of you that sort of monitors where you're going and what you're doing. The higher self is an aspect of you billions of years in the future that is aware of everything that you're doing, that is you, that experienced this already and guides you along the way. It will protect you a lot of times from moving into realities that may cause schisms or problems in your personality. It knows the ultimate effects, so trust your higher self. There are realities that you may want to go into that higher self's going to say, nah, you don't really want to. That's going to be a dead end, because the higher self has experienced all the realities. So you end up leaning on the higher self to guide you in your ways and things that you move into. But then you also allow yourself to open up to these realities. Once you start doing this, you're going to have some events that happen in your life. Reality shifts, objects disappearing, changes in your reality, in the world around you. Don't overreact to it. Just keep an even keel. Don't place excessive importance on anything. As you do, you start to move into the flow of this new reality, and it becomes more and more real. You're being taken from one reality to another, and there may be a bridge of incidents that take you from one to the other to keep your mind rational. Your higher self has found a perfect way to maneuver you into this reality that you are entering into, and trust it and follow it. The more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. But it has to start from a place of knowing exactly what you want. For many, they simply don't know yet. Do this every day. Take advantage of the morning time before you awaken and bedtime as you go to sleep. Those are the times that you have communication with your subconscious. In those moments, you can program and guide the subconscious mind more effectively to take you on this path. The subconscious is the bus, and you're the bus driver, and you're just asking the bus to go a certain direction by steering it in the right direction through your belief systems and the way you program it. So you continue to do these things, and you will end up in the dream reality, and it will be permanent. If you continue to reality shift and come back, you will notice that the current reality is starting to bleed through from the dream reality, and slowly over time, the world is magical. Say you wanted to enter into a world that's like Hogwarts, and then the next thing you know, the world changes and technologies adapt, and you are in a magical world that's very much the same. All of these things are possible. If you believe it's possible, you can shift into them. But if you hold a belief anywhere inside of you that this is impossible or it can't be done, you will not experience it. So for many, the number one belief that you have to change is the belief that it is real, that you can do this. What is the dream reality that you want to experience? What is it that you want to have? What is it you want to do? What is it you want to feel? What is it you want to serve? Ask these questions. I know that you've had thoughts come up during this. I awaken your third eye in this moment so that you see all possible potentials in the multiverse now as you hear my voice. The energies are flowing through you and open. Deep down, you feel this energy pulling you in the direction that you were meant to be. For there is one reality that is your ultimate perfect reality. That is the one reality you're moving towards, that aligns you to the Creator, that aligns you to love. And that reality, amongst all the realities, is the one that shines the brightest for you. I want you to set your sails and move toward whatever it is you want, and along the way, get pulled into the vortex of love and light, and the one ultimate reality of the Creator will be yours. Aligning, merging with the divine entity that you are. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.